I'm sure you need little gift boxes. Who doesn't for the holidays? So why not make today's little box? Look, isn't it absolutely pretty? You could even make two and keep one for yourself, because these would make a lovely Christmas or winter home decoration. Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je weer kijkt, dankjewel. Today's box features this paper, the One Horse Open Sleigh, and I absolutely love this little dear. I've devised a method to cut it in such a way that you get it on the box off center. So, if you're ready to join me, let's start. It's a beautifully finished box. It's quite sturdy because it's, as I said, it's a reinforced box, which means I've also lined it, and not only does this give your box a beautiful finish, but it makes it extra sturdy, and I like a beautifully finished box. So I like to go and do the extra work to put the liner in. I think the box looks even better then. For the lid, I have used the One Horse Open Sleigh Designer Series paper, and I promised you I would show you how you can cut it so that the deer is off center. You could have it in the middle if you like as well. The side panels are the Joy of Christmas Designer Series paper, this lovely wood finish. I'll go into more detail for that later on as well. Let me put my papers over here. Then for the box itself, you need early espresso cardstock and you need some paper for the liner. The paper that I've used is discontinued paper. I like to use that for my boxes. You could use current paper as if you like, but I like this green with brown. And as you can see, the bottom is 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, 20.7 by 20.7 centimeters, and you score this on all four sides at 1/2 inch and 2 1/4 inches, 1.2 centimeters and then 5.6 centimeters. I'll show you with my Simply Scored. You put it on your scoring tool and then you score at 1/2 inch, 2 1/4, you rotate and you repeat, and this is how you make a box like this. So on all four sides you do this scoring. I'm going to fold and burnish all these score lines and then show you how you can cut the box. And I forgot to use my bone folder. It is better to use your bone folder. You get these beautifully crisp folded lines which make the box look even better. With Designer Series paper you do not need a bone folder, but here you can. To help you later on, fold back this little edge, the half inch edge, the 1.2 centimeter edge, and then you cut, and you cut at opposite ends. So here, which is now my bottom, I cut up the score lines as far as the second score line, and then I turn it like this, and you do, here's where your flaps are now, and then you do the same thing at this end. So you cut up those score lines as far as the second score line. Then you cut these little narrow side panels and just cut them in at an angle. I'm only sort of cutting the score line away, not more than that. That makes for a beautiful finish in the box. If you cut in too much at an angle, you will see the liner peek out. So make it a very shallow cut on these four sides. This is what you have now, and then you have to cut these flaps, so I'll fold back that one, you can see better what I'm doing. You shorten it just along the score line, and then you cut in at an angle from about 1/4 inch, about 6 millimeters, 5-6 millimeters, and you cut to the corner. So you cut off that bit and then angle your scissors and cut towards the corner, and that's not a very neat cut. That's better. Same thing at this end. You don't have to cut very neatly because you're going to put the liner in. If you didn't put a liner in, you would still see these flaps, and then I would certainly do my cutting more beautifully, but here there's no need to, so let me get rid of these bits. Then I'm going to put tear and tape on, and you put tear and tape along these 4 flaps. I recommend using tear and tape in this case because you're going to put these flaps over later. If you didn't, you could use your seal or seal plus I suppose for a box, but in this case I just prefer tear and tape because you can leave the back on until you need it. Then with your flaps lying horizontally, so like this, these 2 flaps, you put some tear and tape there and at the other end as well. And important is that you really make sure that the tear and tape adheres well. It makes it much easier to stick the box together. Also because you can get the backing tape off much more easily. Okay, now ready to put the box together. So part of the box together, not all of it in one go, so I'm removing these 2 bits. I'll fold in these flaps. I'll remove these as well while I'm at it. You could do that later, but I'm doing it now. Okay, now then you put these edges flush. So make sure they align well and you give a small press. You can use your bone folder later to make sure it adheres well. So just press. See how easy it is to put it together? Press. Now then I'm going inside my box and I'm pressing down where the tear and tape is, so towards the corner, to make sure it adheres well. And then I'm leaving the box for a minute because I'm going to put the liner in. And here you have the liner, and for the liner you need a piece which is slightly under 6 3/4. I call this 6 3/4 minus for myself. It's easier because it is actually 6 11/16. In centimeters there's no problem because you can work with a millimeter, 60.9 by 60.9, and you score this at 3.8 centimeters on all 4 sides. You score it at 1.5 centimeters. So make it just 1/16 of an inch shorter than 6 3/4. And I'm going to score this on all 4 sides at 1.5. Also important is that you put the side of the paper that you want to see in the box at the bottom. So turn your paper over and then you score at 1.5 on all 4 sides. Be gentle with designer series paper. There's no need to press really hard. It's better to do that. Yes, I did. I thought for a minute there I didn't take 1.5 inches. It's better to go over it twice with some very gentle pressure, then push really hard, because then you might push through your designer series paper. It is more delicate. And you can fold it. And you see here I'm just using my fingers. That's okay. And we're going to cut this as well, and I'm going to windmill this, that's what I like to call it. I'm going to do one corner, so you cut up that score line, and then I'll show you. Again, you wedge. No need to be very neat about it because this flap won't show. That's one corner of it, and then I'm turning it and repeat in the next corner. And I do this to get an even distribution of the thickness of the paper. So you turn, and that's how you finish all the 4 corners. Last one, you cut up straight, and then you wedge. Getting my bottom in. Now I'm going to put this together. You fold it up and you put that flap at the back. Fold it up, put the flap at the back, and this one too, put the flap at the back, you see? So these flaps are now on the outside of your liner, and then you can slide it into the lid. Takes a bit of, there you go, and then with your bone folder you can push it against the bottom so that it fits well, and you see it fits in beautifully. You get these nicely finished corners. Then you can remove the backing paper and just fold this flap over, and you see where the liner was shorter, you don't see that anymore. Now I like to do opposite sides first, because then these two can go over and fit into the corner. I haven't actually tried doing one by one, I just always do it like this. You might try doing one by one and then letting me know whether that works as well. I don't know, I just prefer this method. And then again with the bone folder, you press down on the glue, and there you see nicely fitted corners. So that's the bottom. So for the lid we're going to continue. You need Early Espresso 7 3/8 by 7 3/8, and you score this at 1/2 inch and 1 3/4 inches on all four sides. 18.6 by 18.6 centimeters, 1.2 centimeters and 4.4 centimeters on all four sides. And you see I've already done the cutting, I've already put on the tear and tape, I've even put on some of the side panels. You need 4 of these, and each one is 1 1/8 of an inch by 3 3/4, 3 centimeters by 9.5 centimeters. And it's important that you adhere your panels before you put the box together, otherwise you make life much more difficult for yourself. I'm going to put my last panel on with the floating glue method that I've invented for myself. I put some Seal Plus in the middle and then liquid glue all around it. Then it's easier to position it because the panel will float on the liquid glue. For a couple of seconds I can rearrange it, and when I'm pleased where it is, I push down in the middle where that Seal Plus is, and then you can adhere it without problems and it doesn't shift away anymore. So that is the side panels of the box. Here you can see them. And now for the panel in the middle, and I'll show you the lid in a minute. I'll put that over here. This is the Designer Series paper, and there's more paper in this pack which would present you with the same problem or possibilities, whichever way you look at it. I've cut a template, and if you cut off 1/8 of an inch pieces all around, so cut, 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 and rotate the paper every time, you will end up with your deer in the middle, which looks okay, but I wanted mine off center, so that is what I made my template for, and I'll show you in a minute how I've made it. This fox too, you might want the fox there, or even like that, see? So with the template like that, you can determine where you're going to cut the image. And with his house too, you see, if you cut it like that, it will end up a bit high, but maybe you prefer it to be like that. So I'll show you how I made the template, and I'll keep my deer out because I'm going to need that in a minute. I'll put it over here. The paper is 6 by 6, so I cut a piece of 6 by 6 cardstock, and I drew pencil lines at 1 1/8 of an inch, 2.85 centimeters. That's important. It's right in between the 2.8 and 2.9 centimeters, or 2.85 centimeters. And then you can put it in your trimmer, and you cut from that line to that line. So here, I still need to do some cutting, so I put this on the line, or here at the 1 1/8 inch mark. That's fine. And then I'm going to cut from that pencil line to that pencil line. So I hope I'm not having my head in camera. So I cut to the 1 1/8 inch mark. Okay, you rotate and you cut down, and that is how you can cut a square like that. Did it cut all the way? It's attached in the corners. but that's not a problem. It's just a template. And this then I can use, excuse me, to get my deer where I want it. Now I'm putting my paper straight onto the grid paper, and then I move my template to see where I want the deer to end up. And I want a bit of dark tree there, and I don't want that dark tree there. I think that's distracting like this. So roughly here, I suppose. Yeah, so my bottom paper is straight, that one is straight as well, okay? And then I draw a pencil line along these contours, and I'm going to extend that pencil line. It's easier to put it in the trimmer then, so there and there. So I'm putting my ruler, I'm not sure if you can see the pencil line. I'm putting my ruler there, and here too, the ruler against the pencil line. This one is difficult to see because it is right on that dark tree, but this is where it is. Okay, so right. Then you cut. So I put the pencil line that I just drew onto the groove and cut. Here too. That's why I extended the pencil line so that I can see where it is. And this one, you can turn it over and match it against the groove. And the final one. And this is how you can cut your paper, with the deer in the middle. Right, I'm going to put that onto the lid, and I'm also going to put the lid together, and then I'll show you the liner. Right then, the liner is made in the same way as the liner for the bottom. Here you want a 5/7/8 piece by 5/7/8, but you cut it just a bit smaller because it's actually 5/13/16, and you score it at 1 inch, 16.1 centimeter by 16.1 centimeter, and you score it at 3.2 centimeters. And as you can see here, I've already cut and folded it so I can put it in. So again, I'm folding these flaps to the outside and slide it into the lid. May take a bit of work, and then again I'm pushing it towards the bottom, and I can remove the backing paper. Oh, I could have tried doing them one by one instead of opposite ones. See, I'm so used to this that I forgot to do that. Well, never mind. Again, with the bone folder, you press down well to make sure it adheres. And I can show you how beautifully these corners fit because I didn't cut too much at an angle. Then I can put it onto the bottom, and I'm definitely keeping one of these boxes for myself. That's it for today. All the details are on my blog and the link is in the description box below. Have great fun making this box. If you have a question or a comment, I love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching. Dankjewel voor het kijken en see you next time. Bye bye, tot ziens!